We're going to talk about how your pecs can influence your overhead shoulder mobility, and then we're going to go through some exercise to improve the length of your pec major and pec minor. First is your pecs are two muscles. You have your pec major and your pec minor. Your pec minor really is from the upper kind of 2 to 4 ribs and attaches on what's called the coracoid process of your scapula. This is really important because this muscle is critical for downward rotation of your scapula. However, a really tight pec minor can pull on that coracoid process and dump your scapula forward. So it kind of creates that rounding position in our shoulders. So the second muscle of our pecs, and the one that we all train when we're doing bench press, is your pec major. And it covers more of your actual thoracic cage on the anterior part, and then goes up onto your humerus, so your arm bone. And the important thing with this one is when it attaches on your humerus and pulls tight, it inwardly rotates your arm, or medially rotates, internally rotates, whatever you want to call it, but it rotates your arm inwards. So you can kind of imagine a little bit of the biomechanics, that the influence that we're guessing here is that tight pec major, inwardly rotating, tight pec minor, downward dumping of your scapula pulls you into that classic hunched shoulder position. So the idea here is to kind of open up those muscles to allow your shoulders to be in optimal position. Because if you're dumped here, you don't have a great overhead range. As you can see, I can reach as best as I can. I can't quite get overhead, versus when you're opened up, you can reach overhead. The doorway stretch is your classic pec stretch. There's a few key things that I really want to emphasize for it to be the most effective. You can use both arms at the same time and lean forward, or you can go one at a time. When you're stepping into the doorway, the more overhead your elbow is in respect to your shoulders, the more challenging or deeper the stretch can be. But it can also cause a little bit more tension on the nerves running from your neck into your arm. I like to start at a comfortable position with my elbow just below the shoulder. Have your forearm firmly against the wall. You can step forward into it so your elbow goes back, and you can twist your body slightly out to the side. Now I'm feeling that stretch from my shoulder kind of into my chest. The trick is, the first point I want to make is, you don't want to turn your head away from it as well. Turning your head away actually really tensions that nerve, your median nerve from your neck all the way into your arm, and can cause implications or discomfort or tingling into the fingers later on. So don't twist your neck away from it. If you're turning away from the wall to get that stretch, you want to twist your whole body. The second thing is, like I said, if you have your arms up here, it can sometimes be a bit more of an intense stretch, but your fingers can start to go numb and get a little tingly. That's just that nerve tension. So just bring your arm down slightly, change the position, and then re-engage in the stretch. When you're doing the pec doorway stretch, you want to hold for at least a total of 2 minutes. That's the lowest recommended dose to actually see some effective change in the literature. It can be broken up throughout the day, so it's good to do 30 seconds throughout your workday several times, but as long as you hit that total of 2 minutes. So again, you can see I'm wide enough that I can have my arms in both doorways, step forward, get a stretch from both sides. But if you can't, you can just do one side at a time, twist your whole body away. So this is the best way to kind of get your pec major and your pec minor stretching at the same time. Really no excuse, because we go through a lot of doorways in our lives, and it's pretty easy just to kind of stand and do this exercise. The next one we're going to do is actually my favorite pec stretch, and it is best with a long foam roller, but you can have a short foam roller and a couple pillows. But basically you need something elevated to support the length of your spine and your head, ideally from your head to your tailbone. Now everyone loves this one because you just get to lay down, which anything exercise related you can lay down is a win, right? So laying on the length of the foam roller, you're focusing on a couple key things here. The first is I want to have a nice chin tilt. So I'm lengthening the back of my neck to get my spine in a good position. And I'm bringing my shoulder blades together slightly. So now we get to practice that opening up of the anterior or the front part of our chest by bringing our shoulder blades together. Now the easiest part of the stretch is just holding the position, the letter A. So doing a little A hold, you can feel like a minor stretch through the lower or the upper fibers of the pecs here. To make this a little bit more challenging, you can go out into the T position. Now I can start to feel a little bit of a stretch kind of coming across my chest. To engage it a little bit further, you can squeeze your shoulder blades together in the back to really work on that opening up in the front and increase the stretch a bit more. Now, what I really like to do is, because your arms are long and they're sitting on the floor, is you go into the uprights position or the H position, and then your arms are free floating so that gravity is pulling your elbows and your forearms down, and then you get a nice deep stretch to the chest. And sometimes what I do in this position is I squeeze my shoulder blades together, hold for 5, relax for 5. Squeeze for 5, relax for 5. And that way it just kind of makes it a little bit more interesting for me, like I'm doing something while I'm doing my 2-minute stretch. But this is a really comfortable position. Like I said, we're really just trying to work on keeping your spine supported, so that's pretty much providing a fulcrum while we use our arms as leverage to kind of open up the front here and get that nice pec stretch. This one being my favorite for sure. And the last exercise I want to cover is just overall mobility of the shoulder, the thoracic spine, your pec muscles in general. But it's a great one because it can really just work on increasing mobility and length to all the tissues of those regions. It's thread the needle. It's in a lot of my videos. It's one of my favorite. But basically what you're going to do is you find a good tabletop position. We're going to demonstrate the right. Reach your arm through. Think like you're pushing with your chest, pushing through as far as you can, and then open your chest up to the ceiling. Now, a lot of people would just reach back with their arm, but I want you thinking like you're leading with your chest. You're trying to open your chest through the ceiling and then reach through. So a great thoracic one, really works the muscles throughout their range of motion in this rotational plane, but really helps with the general lengthening and mobility and flexibility of your upper body. So for this one, I usually recommend 1 to 2 sets, 15 to 20 repetitions. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below of something that you'd be interested to see next. Tune in next time.